And hello, welcome to the show. It is Thursday, July 8th, 2021. Welcome back to the Ram Show. Hello, Zach. How are you?
Fine.
Doing fine. How was your 4th of July?
Well, I had a bit of a cold, which sucked.
Hmm. Better than other things that you could catch, though.
Yes.
So, oh boy, do I have a story to tell you this week. We'll get into it. It's very sad, somewhat depressing, and something that needs to be addressed. Let me preface it by saying I know better.
Some data.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what
Yeah,
did you
we'll get into it. We will get into it, but first, let's roll the intro. So yeah, no, I lost a lot of stuff.
And
Me and a lot of people.
a lot of people.
Oh yes. This is one of our topics today.
No.
So we'll get into it in a second, but let me do this. Okay, so are you able to see the little preview window, Zach?
Gotta add alt tabbing on.
All right.
Mm,
So
you.
this,
Oh,
what is this, Zach? Do you know what this is?
hard drive.
It is. So this is specifically one from Western Digital called the MyBook Live. So it has a single drive in it with a Ethernet port in the back of it. So it is a very, very simplified NAS solution. Now, that product is quite old. To put that into context, I graduated in 2012, and I had this device. I first got it when I was like in middle school.
What? That not good.
So I have accumulated, since that time, I have accumulated pretty much everything, all my stuff has been saved to this device.
It was that old, and you trusted it that much?
So,
Oh no.
hang on.
I don't like where this is going.
Oh no, it gets way worse.
Oh, it gets worse.
So,
Oh, no.
anyway,
No.
so yeah, so everything since about the time I was in middle school up until a couple weeks ago was on this device. Not backed up anywhere else.
Oh no.
Now, what happened is like nobody could have saw this coming.
Did it die?
It did not die.
Mm.
Oh no, it did not die. So Western Digital, maker of the popular MyDisk external hard drives, is recommending that customers unplug MyBook Live storage devices from the internet until further notice, while the company engineers investigate unexplained compromises that have completely wiped data from devices around the world.
Did that happen to you?
Oh yes.
What?
I woke up
Oh, no.
to my device being factory reset.
Oh no. Can it? I wonder if it can be recovered anyway.
So,
Unless it was
yes.
overwritten.
No, it was not overwritten. I've already disassembled the device. I've already pulled the drive. I've already ran data recovery on it. So, the good news is that a decent amount of stuff seems to have come back.
Okay,
Here's the problem. The entire file structure is no longer there. So what was able to be recovered is
it just a mess of files?
It's just a mess of files. And some of the file names are there. Others are just numbers.
Oh boy.
So it means that there's a lot of stuff to sort through. This is a terabyte drive. I did not have anywhere near a terabyte of data on it. But yeah, it's a jumbled mess. Basically, and the way the data recovery worked is, from what I can tell, I had applications and stuff like installers and things, and it looks like it's kind of decompressed them, sort of. Some stuff isn't there. I had a lot of Photoshop files that, like actual PSD files, the actual working parts of them that are no longer there. Some of the files that did come back are corrupted. They're missing data. So, yeah. I was not happy. This was like...
I don't think I would be happy.
This was like last weekend. And look, okay, we're going to talk about the things that I did wrong and the things that I should have known better and what I've done moving forward in a second. But this is going to tie in with this topic as well. And this is going to be pretty much the blunt of our show today. But and so I'm mad at myself, but I'm also mad at Western Digital. And you'll find out why in a second. Because Western Digital has a large part in this. And look, I can't take all the blame out on Western Digital. There are negligent things that I did on my own end, right? If you want to call me an IT professional, I guess.
Everyone knows what you should do.
Everyone knows what you should do.
Don't do it.
You're right. Until it's too late. Like I found out. So, yeah, let's get into the topic real quick here. There is a possible light at the end of the tunnel. We'll get into that in a moment. But the mass incident of disk wiping came to light in a thread on actually Western Digital's own support site. And so far, well, this was a couple weeks ago. There were no reports of deleted data later being restored. Like I said, I pulled the drive out of mine and I was able to recover a fair amount of stuff. I think the saving grace in that was that the device was only factory reset. It was not overwritten. Now, I should ask, and actually you might have a better understanding of this since you had somewhat of a forensics class, but...
Oh, no. No, I probably don't have a better...
So, what... Because here's the thing, is when you delete something on a disk, it doesn't actually go away, does it, Zach?
No.
Right, what happens? Do you know?
Those sectors are just marked as available.
Exactly. So when is the data actually gone?
When they get written to with something else.
Exactly. So if it hasn't been written over, there's a possibility that you can, with the correct software and tools, pull that data back. Which, for me, has somewhat worked. So I feel a little bit better that I at least have been able to restore some of those files. But yes, there's so much stuff in there, and without the file structure, it's really hard to find things.
There are also expensive data recovery services that may be able to
There
do
are.
a slightly better job than what
There
you
are.
can do with freeware
Yes.
tools.
So,
But, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of money. I know because there was a critical computer at my last job that had the hard drive die, and it cost thousands of dollars to recover the data.
yeah, it's not cheap. So,
It was just like a junk box.
yeah.
It was just a junk old tower piece of garbage that had some critical like shipping data on it or whatever. Why? I don't know.
So, the author of this particular article here on Ars Technica says that they have one of these devices connected to their home LAN that has worked fine for years, like mine had. And the person who started the thread wrote, oh, excuse me, this is from that thread. I apologize. So they say, I have a WD MyBook Alive connected to my home LAN and it's worked fine for years. The person who started the thread wrote, I have found that somehow all data on it is gone today. While the directory seemed there, but empty, previously the T2 volume was almost full, but now shows full capacity. So there's been some reports of some people said that the devices were wiped and they couldn't log into the control panel at all. I didn't have that problem. I was able to get in, but all my shares and the file structure was just completely gone. Other MyBook Live users quickly joined the conversation to report that they too had experienced precisely the same thing. All my data is gone, one user soon responded. I am totally screwed without that data. Years of it. And that's like me. I've been accumulating stuff on it since I was in middle school. That's a long time. Multiple users reported that the data loss coincided with a factory reset that was performed on their devices. One person posted a log that shows unexplained behavior occurring on Wednesday. So basically, what apparently I've possibly made out
What
is that
what is causing this to happen all of a sudden?
so here's what it is.
Is it just a flaw that's existed forever? But why is it only happening now?
So yes and no. So apparently, so this is where I get pissed at WD, right? Western Digital. Is apparently they knew back in like 2018 that these devices were susceptible to this, that there was an exploit in there that could cause them to be remotely wiped, and they just didn't do anything about it. Now, yes, okay, and this is an interesting question here, and I want your opinion. So the device was deemed EOL back in like 2015, which is fine, right? Okay, but here's the thing, is that this device was also, up until a couple weeks ago, and probably still now, is able to be accessed directly from Western Digital's website through some kind of protocol that they have, right? So that you can log in on their website and access your data from it wherever you are, right? So if they're gonna have this thing still exposed to the internet that way, right? And they know that there's this critical flaw in it, even if it's end of life, they should probably patch that. And look, okay, I'm not saying that people like me don't use these devices, right? But when I first got this device, probably like 2010, right? If not earlier, I didn't know the stuff that I know about networking and computers and things like that. I saw this awesome little device that I could just plug into my network and access all my files from any computer on my computer network. And I bet you that the majority of people that have bought this device have bought it for that exact reason.
I'm sure they have.
It is
I
marketed
don't have
as
a good answer because I mean you could argue that they declare it end of life and that's it.
But then don't let it be, don't allow it to be accessible through the internet on the user's own terms through port forwarding, which is what I have mine set up with. See, here's the thing. If I didn't have this set up for port forwarding, I probably would have been fine, actually. But it was that, well, actually, it could also use UPnP, Universal Plug and Play. But the thing is that if you're still going to allow people to access it directly from your website, then you should probably, at least in a critical situation, if there's a critical flaw, patch that. Even Microsoft does that.
You could argue that there is a standard of like a level of emergency that would warrant action.
Yes,
even on an
Microsoft did
end-of-life
that
product.
when
The other
WannaCry
thing
came out. When
that you
WannaCry came
could-
out.
The other thing
Remember,
that you could
Microsoft.
a little bit more. Okay.
Hang on. When WannaCry came out, look, XP had already been EOL for a while, but they patched it because it was so critical.
You could also argue that even if they don't want to do anything, they at least owe users a notification that this has been found and what they can do to prevent themselves from being affected by it.
You want to know what's awesome? Was the day, so they posted an article on their website, Western Digital did. Like, literally, like, 1 or 2, I think it was like 2 days before my device was wiped. Urging people with these, hang on.
2018.
Yeah, but hang on, okay? So urging people to disconnect these devices from the internet, right? I got an email the exact same day, like 2 days after this article was published on their website. I get an email that says, hey, by the way, we've noticed that these devices are being wiped remotely. You might want to take them off the internet. Like, thanks, Western Digital. That email would have been nice to have, I don't know, a couple days ago?
Or how about a couple of years ago if they've known about
Yeah,
it
or
for that
exactly.
long?
Or a couple years ago. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you could argue that they don't owe you a fix after it's, as old as it is and being declared end of life, which is, I mean, I don't know. That's.
So, granted,
I'm not
okay.
gonna argue about that. 'Cause I
Granted
don't
that
really
this
have a good
article was
answer.
written a couple weeks ago, right? So the limited information available at the moment makes it hard to determine what the cause of the mass destruction is. But Western Digital statement seems to be saying that customer accounts were individually compromised and advise them to unplug the devices while the investigation continues. Basically. But in the meantime, Western or MyBook Live users are trying to manage the hardship brought on by the incident. Yeah. It's a very scary and devastating, or it's very scary and devastating that someone can do a factory restore on my drive without any permission granted from the end user. Yeah, that's the other thing. They just used an exploit in there. It didn't ask for any authentication or anything. It just said, oh, hey, okay, factory reset, sure, go ahead.
That should be only something that can be done by like a physical button.
Yeah, or at the very least, you
Well,
need
I
to
don't know about
authenticate
that.
it.
Well, okay, yeah, that too.
So anyway, right? So that's this initial article. And then there's this other article here, right? So this one is entitled, this is from The Verge. It's entitled, A Second Exploit Has Emerged in the Sad WD MyBook Live Data Deletion Saga. So it looks like there may have been more than one exploit used to cause the mass deletion of data from MyBook, or Western Digital MyBook Live NASA's last week, according to a report from Ars Technica. When news broke that people were finding that their data was missing, some, including WD itself, pointed to a known exploit from 2018.
That they didn't say anything about.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what this exploit was that they found, but yeah. Which allowed for root access of the device. Now, Zach, I know you don't know. Oh, by the way, this thing is kind of based on a Linux operating system, I guess, to manage it. Ish. Which makes sense. Linux is free and open source, and like the whole world runs on Linux, basically, right? But even the fact that you don't know that much about Linux, allowed for root access of the device.
Well, of course I know what root access
I
is.
don't need to explain to you how serious that is. And for anyone
Obviously
who
it means you can do anything.
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know that much about Linux, basically the root user is the top level user. If you have root access, you can do anything you want. And typically without any permission. And typically without any safeguards. I don't know if I've done it on a live stream. I've definitely shown people, though. In Linux, you can run a command as root that basically destroys the entire system. Because it deletes the entire file structure. And it doesn't actually, okay, it does ask you, are you sure you want to do this? But other than just saying, yeah, I'm sure I want to do it, it just does it. Actually, no, you know what? No, if you use a
There's a parameter you can put in.
Yeah, if you
I already know what I'm doing.
Yep, if you put a specific parameter in there, I forgot about that. Yep, it'll just delete it. It'll just go. You hit enter and like there you go. Bye-bye file system, right? So, anyway. So if you have one of these devices, you should unplug it from the internet before reading any further. It's clear at this point that your data is at risk if the devices is at risk if your device is online, right? So the second exploit reported by Ars Technica doesn't give an attacker full control over the device like the other exploit, but it does allow them to remotely wipe the device without having to know your password. According to a security advisor from WD, the vulnerability was introduced in 2011! 2011, Zach! Which is only a year after the drives were introduced. Analysts found that and this is the other thing. So they found that there was code that could have prevented that issue, but it was commented out.
Wow.
Now again, so you have a little bit of background in programming. So what happens when you comment the line of code out?
Okay, I know that. It means that it doesn't run.
Exactly, yes.
It no longer becomes part of the code.
So it's still there, you can still see it, but it is basically ignored. So it's basically deactivated. So the software didn't run authentication when asked to do a factory reset. Like, why? Why would you comment that out?
I don't know.
So WD says in its post that the code that was deactivated was intentional as well. And was due to the company refactoring how the authentication was done on the device. However, the company says the exploit was introduced when the refactor failed to add the correct authentication type, resulting in the vulnerability. And these devices did get firmware updates, by the way. So it's not like they couldn't have fixed it. So, the question still remains, however, as to why hackers decided to factory reset the devices, right? And I think that's the big question that everyone wants to know. Well, Ars Technica has a wild theory based on analysis by security firm Census, I think is how you pronounce that. So the data deletion happened as a result of a fight between hackers, basically, with one botnet owner potentially trying to take over or disrupt another's. One hacker or group of hackers was using the known exploit to control the devices for some nefarious purpose. Then another entity used the unknown remote wipe exploit to erase those devices. It likely would have removed the first entity's access to the hardware, but of course users' data was also caught in the crossfire. So yeah. Now they're saying that this theory, or at least this article,
like these devices are just compromised like a billion times over.
Yeah, so the theory does make sense, given the competing nature of the exploits used. I mean, why would a hacker burn a previously unreported exploit to factory reset the machines after already having root access? Like, you have root access, you can do whatever you want with them. So I guess it makes sense. But that said, in WD's security advisory, it says that in some cases it was the same party that used both exploits. In a statement to Ars, WD said it was not clear why the attackers exploited both vulnerabilities. Also included in WD's update is a plan to help MyBook Live owners. The company will be providing data recovery services, which a spokesperson told Ars would be free, and offering a trade-in program that will allow customers to get a device that's currently receiving software support. So, that is where the little glimmer of light is. So, I got this email 2 days ago. It says, "Hello, MyBook Live Duo customers. If you are a MyBook Live or MyBook Live Duo customer, we're offering the following limited time offer." They've got the trade-in, and then they've got the data recovery service. Western Digital will help to recover your data using the data recovery service provider by a Western Digital selected vendor. Western Digital will cover all the cost of shipment of the qualifying product to the DRS vendor, and for the DRS recovered data, if any, that will then be sent to you on one or more My Passport portable hard drives. Then they've got some information. So I need to contact Western Digital and then figure out where I need to send my drive. Because even though I've ran my own data recovery on it, I would imagine that the data recovery services that they've got are probably going to be more in depth than what I can probably perform myself.
You also should probably put it back together and act like you never took it apart.
Yeah, I need to figure out exactly. Okay,
because if they see that, they might just be like, oh, actually, it looks like you disassembled it, even though it doesn't matter, but we're just going to deny you anyway because we don't want to pay.
I thought about that. I still have all the pieces. I'm going to check to see exactly if I need to send the whole device in or what exactly. My guess would be is that I would hope that Western Digital could appreciate the fact that, because again, this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? Could appreciate the fact that, oh, I don't know, people's data is gone and they might want to start getting it back? Like, what are you going to do with this dice? Just let it sit until, like, Western Digital figures out what they're going to do? So...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is a lot more than I would have expected from them. I would have expected them to tell you to shove it and buy a new hard drive.
I think... So my perception of Western Digital has kind of gone back and forth, right? So before all this stuff happened, I love Western Digital. And look, okay, here's the thing. I will continue to buy products from Western Digital. Hard drives. I will continue to buy hard drives from Western Digital. I will continue to buy storage devices. I should say not storage devices, storage mediums from them. Nope, I shouldn't even say storage mediums. I will continue to buy hard drives and solid state drives from them.
I actually won't because of the experience that I had last time I tried. Nope.
Okay, hang on. I'm curious to hear that in a second. But, okay. So anyway, I'm not done with my thoughts yet. We still have a little bit ways to go, but we'll come back to that in a second. Anyway, that actually brings up another good thing that I want to talk about in a moment. In terms of bad customer service. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But anyway, so look, Western Digital's products, at least for myself, I've always trusted them. I've always had good luck. Whenever I've needed to buy a drive in the past before, it's pretty much always been Western Digital that I have purchased because I've just had good luck with them. Will I ever buy another Western Digital NAS device though? Probably not. For a couple reasons. One, because of this whole shenanigans. Like, come on, guys. Seriously? That's just pure negligence. And I think that that's probably the reason why. I think probably part of the reason that they're doing this is one, because it's the right thing to do. Two, because from a PR standpoint, and three, because I'm sure if they didn't, I'm sure there'd be a nice class action lawsuit against them. And there may still very well be. But
I'm not sure. I feel like they would defend it just by saying, well, we declared these devices end of life already.
And my argument again would come back to the fact that, okay, yes, but I'm still able to access it directly from your services. Like, if it's really end of life, then I wouldn't expect to be able to do that. So is it really end of life? Or are you just saying it's end of life?
Either way, the last time I needed a new hard drive, I went through from Amazon 3 WD Blacks, and all of them made this just absolutely horrible sound when writing data to them that prompted me to swiftly unplug them from my computer and send them back.
Were they new in box?
Seagate, but yeah, brand new drives.
Okay, so
people at Seagate, but I've used a fair few of their mechanical drives and never had a problem.
So I had, and I think this was more attributed to. So I kind of swore off Seagate for a very, very long time, mostly due to the fact, and I think that this is maybe more of a Windows Vista problem than necessarily the Seagate drives themselves, because the drives themselves never actually failed. But when I had my my first laptop, and it ran Windows Vista, I ran into like several issues where like everything just got completely corrupted, and like all my stuff was gone.
That's not like the fault of the drive.
No, I think that was more a fault of Windows Vista itself. But the drives that were in the devices were Seagate, and so I think I just kind of associated them with each other. And I was like, nope, I completely swear off Seagate. Like, and for years, I decided not to use Seagate devices, right? So, oh, by the way, so this opens an interesting question, right? And it gets me back on topic real quick here. So, yeah, so obviously my device is pulled apart. The drive has been pulled out of it, right? So the question is, you know, so I've got all this stuff sitting on an external drive right now. Just a 2.5-inch mechanical, or, you know, not 2.5-inch, 2.5-inch mechanical drive, right? So, you know, it was the easiest place to put it for now. But you know, it begs the question of, obviously I'm going to be using a NAS solution in the house, you know, right? And in fact, I have another NAS solution. So what do you think I have? And I've actually, okay, so this is the other part. We'll talk about what I should have done in a second, but you actually probably already know. What's the other NAS solution that I'm using? The new NAS solution.
I honestly don't know.
Um,
You probably told me, but I probably forgot.
yeah, it's Synology. I have a Synology NAS.
Oh, okay.
So double drive, runs RAID 1, I believe. Whatever RAID number mirrors. I'm not great with RAID, but yeah, whichever one mirrors the data, right? So, and when I was looking for drives for it, I wanted drives that were decently, that had good speed on them. And the only thing that I could find, I did look at Western Digital drives, right? But I also kind of looked at NAS, you know, drives that were designed for NAS. And the only thing that I could find that had a good speed on them, I wanted something that was fast, right? For reading and writing. I actually went Seagate. I bought Seagate Iron Wolf drives for my new NAS. So, I believe it caps out at 4 terabytes, is the space, or the size of my array, basically. Well, a little bit smaller than that, but my array is 4 terabytes, which is more than enough space, because look, I had the MyBook Live, which was a terabyte drive, since I was in middle school, and I had not even came close to filling it up. So that's why I felt that a 4 terabyte drive was going to be, you know, or a 4 terabyte array was going to be more than enough space, right? So that is my new solution, is a Seagate NAS, which I've had for a while. And the part that makes me a little frustrated was that with myself, this is the part where I'm kicking myself, was the goal was to move the data that was on the MyBook Live to the Synology NAS. And I just never got to it. So that was the goal. Now, let me be clear, Zach. RAID is not a backup, is it?
Because if another failure happens, like in software, you're still fried.
RAID is not a backup. It is not. So, moving forward,
More than nothing.
you're right. Okay, so here's the other shining light. Is the reason I bought the Synology NAS was to integrate better with my virtual machine server, Nebula, because the MyBook Live just didn't integrate very well with it. So that's part of the reason why I bought the Synology NAS. I had also been wanting a new NAS as well, because the MyBook Live was it didn't have gigabit internet in it. It was only 10100, or Ethernet in it. It was only 10100, which honestly was still pretty speedy for my network. But yeah, I've been wanting to upgrade at some point, right? And again, so I just never really got around to moving the data because there was so much of it, right? It was going to be a long process. In retrospect, I'm now kicking myself. But I did I did make a couple good decisions. The first decision is that all my music that I've acquired over years, that all got moved to the new Synology NAS. So that was all safe. And all my Plex media that I've spent hours and hours and hours burning in, that is on the Synology NAS as well. So that was all safe. So that was kind of a little shimmer of light there. But like family photos and things like that, that was all on the other drive. So anyway, so yeah, so NAS is, or excuse me, RAID is not a backup, right? It's still a little bit of an insurance policy if you lose a drive. But what should I really be doing, Zach?
Offline backup.
Well, off-site backup.
I mean, unless you're worried about your house burning down, it's probably not necessary to be off-site.
Well, so here's the thing, right?
I mean, that kind of thing is done by businesses and corporations because they need to be sure that no matter what happens, even if the building does burn down, they'll be okay. But I don't know. I don't think that for a home user, you really need to take your backups off-site.
Okay, so
Unless you have some like monumentally valuable data.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. So I bought myself a little insurance policy.
You have some bitcoins on your hard drive. Maybe worth an off-site backup.
That is true. I bought myself a little bit of an insurance policy, and my Synology NAS now backs up online. So
that's a good call.
My entire drive backs up to a to basically.
Man, I can do that now that I have no more data cap. Dang, that's a good idea.
So yeah, so my entire drive backs up now. So everything everything that is on that drive right now has been backed up online to a to basically a service that does this. So this is what I went with. So iDrive is the company that I decided to use. I was looking at Backblaze, but when I finally looked into how it worked, it wasn't a single it wasn't a base, it wasn't a single price, right? It was, you get this allotment of uploads per day, and then anything above that is going to be charged at a specific rate and things like that. And I wasn't really impressed with that solution. So what I really liked about iDrive was I decided to go with the iDrive Personal solution right here. So for $52.12, I have 5 terabytes worth of storage online. And remember, my array is only 4 terabytes, so I still have an extra terabyte of space here, right? So for $52.12, my entire NAS can be mirrored in the cloud for an entire year. After the first year, it goes up to like $70. But I think for the peace of mind of knowing that my data is safe, and if I ever have an issue where there's a flood or a fire or a software issue or ransomware for that matter, my stuff is safe and I can pull it back. Yes, it's going to be a pain in the rear end, but I can pull it back. So I think for $70 a year, I think to me it's worth it. So anyway, so yeah, so that's my big news this week. So yeah, that's been fun. So anyway, but yeah, and so the Synology NAS makes this a really easy solution. Basically, I downloaded the iDrive app onto my Synology NAS. okay, the setup process wasn't quite as straightforward as I was gonna hope it was gonna be. I had to like configure some stuff, but once I had that all set up, I was able to basically log into my iDrive account, and then it's scheduled to back up like every night at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Sure,
So
Backblaze is weird because I'm looking at it right now and they just say $60 a year.
no.
There's something else to it. They won't
So-
tell me. They won't tell me any of the catches without me
No,
agreeing
no,
to
no.
try it for
So,
free, and I don't want to do
It's
that 'cause I can't
it's
be bothered.
not what you think. It's not the personal backup. It's the B2 cloud storage is what you use.
Oh. Well, why do you need that over the personal backup?
Because it doesn't integrate with the NAS solutions.
Hmm.
See, that's what I thought too. That's initially why I looked at Backblaze. But it doesn't work that way. So, there are also costs incurred with Backblaze if you want to pull your data back too. So, that is why iDrive for me made more sense. So, in fact, we're actually using iDrive at the church, right? So, now the church has had a much better backup solution than I ever had here at home. So we used to use a service called Carbonite there. But the problem is that Carbonite does not cover server operating systems. So that's where we found iDrive, because it does. And so we have a secondary disk inside of our file or our server. So our server acts as domain controller, Active Directory server, and a file server. So it acts as multiple roles, basically. We're not a big enough organization to constitute needing multiple servers to run multiple roles, basically. We can have one server run all those roles. So at least our office secretary, and we're actually getting some new staff, so we'll train them to basically store their stuff on the shared basically on the file server, right? And so everything that is saved on the file server is backed up every night as well to iDrive. So we have an offsite backup of it. So that's how I knew about iDrive. That's why I decided to use it, because it had been working great for us at the church. And so I was like, okay, cool. It works with my Synology NAS. I already know the back end. So it was a good solution. So moving forward, I feel a lot better about my data. Yeah. So, see, this is karma coming back for me laughing at you for wiping your phone, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Except in my case, it hurts a lot more. So, anyway, but
I've managed to forget that even happened, which honestly, given what actually did happen, means I guess I recovered all right.
Yeah, I know you did. So, well, we'll see what happens. I'll continue to keep you updated on the progress and what
Horrible.
the data recovery services are able to hopefully recover for me from my device. So from my drive. So anyway, I need to look into that. But anyway, let's move into Microsoft news real quick for this week. So Microsoft gave its digital imprinter or imprimatur. Let's see. Oh yeah, so Microsoft malicious I can't talk. Microsoft digitally signs malicious rootkit driver, Zach. Whoops. So yeah, it basically oh yeah, this is like a print driver or something like that, I think. But they gave it to a rootkit that decrypted encrypted communications and sent them to attacker-controlled services. The company and outside researchers said. The blunder allowed the malware to be installed on Windows machines without users receiving a security warning or needing to take additional steps. For the past 13 years, Microsoft has required third-party drivers and other code that runs in the Windows kernel to be tested and digitally signed by the OS maker to ensure stability and security. Without a Microsoft certificate, these types of programs can't be installed by default. Which would make sense. That's probably the smart way to go about things, wouldn't you say, Zach?
I'd say.
So, earlier this month, a researcher at a security firm, or the security firm GData, found that his company's malware detection system flagged a driver named NetFilter. He initially thought the detection was a false positive because Microsoft had digitally signed NetFilter under the company's Windows hardware compatibility program. But after further testing, the researcher determined that the detection wasn't a false positive. He and fellow researchers decided to figure out precisely what the malware did. The core functionality seems to be eavesdropping on SSL connections. Okay.
I mean, that could be bad.
Yeah, a reverse engineer wrote on Twitter. In addition to the IP redirecting component, it also installs and protects a root certificate to the registry. Look, I don't know so much about the security stuff, but I know that screwing around with stuff in the registry is not what you really want to be doing. Unless you know what you're doing. Because you can seriously screw up a system that way. Actually, have you ever played around with the registry before in Windows? And have you ever screwed up a system to the point where you had to basically just start over again?
Oh, but I have gone in there to fix things after furiously Googling.
So actually,
finding some obscure post on a backwater forum or something.
There is actually a GPO policy that is set. So you can actually set registry tweaks through GPO group policy in Windows Server. And so I have a registry GPO set up that deletes the Edge icon from new users' accounts. Yeah. I need to look at another one because it does still add the Edge icon to the taskbar. So I need to figure out how to get rid of that. The other thing that I did the other day was I turned on the GPO that have you you don't get Windows updates, do you?
I just changed the group policy so that I only get them when I feel like it.
So in the latest release of Windows 10,
there's that new weather crap.
Exactly. I set a GPO to disable that on all of our users' accounts. So it was showing up on some of my users' accounts, and I either turned it off manually, but I did set a GPO that automatically gets rid of it now. So thank you, Microsoft, for actually building a GPO, a group policy that allows me to just easily go in and turn that off. I haven't found one for Cortana yet. Although I did find one that forces Cortana not to search the internet or something like that, I think. Or the search to not go out to the internet, for it to stay local or something like that. So maybe that's the secret, Zach, is that you hey, I know what you do. You put your computer on a domain.
I mean, I have Windows 10 Pro, so I can edit the group policy without having to be on a domain.
I guess you're right.
I can just go and do it.
I guess you're right. Yeah, no, just edit the group policies and... Can a
Windows 10 home PC join a domain?
No, you have to be a professional. It has to be a professional.
It doesn't matter. If you can join a domain, then you can also just edit the group policy yourself. But if you can't edit the group policy yourself, you couldn't circumvent that by joining a domain anyway.
No, but I think, well, actually, I don't... let me look. Oh, okay. I thought the group policy management in Windows 10 Pro was different than what it is in what it was in the server operating system. But I guess not. So yeah, realistically, let me see if this is actually in here. So actually, you know what? Let me minimize that and do this real quick here. I don't know how viewable this is going to be. So let's see. So computer configuration. Actually, is it? Let's see. Administrative templates. Windows components. That's where it is. I want to see if it's in here. Yeah, news and interest is actually in here. So I could go in and set this group policy to disabled, and then it would disable the news and weather completely in here. So I guess I haven't really poked around in group policy much on my core system here. But
I only touched it to screw with updates.
So our there's a PowerShell script that somebody at my employer has written that I think has some provisions in it that are supposed to set something on the systems that prevents the Windows updates, basically. So
there was a trick I learned a while ago where you can basically tell the Windows Update service to run as the guest user, and then when it does, it just kind of errors out and doesn't work.
That's kind of funny, actually.
So yeah, that was probably for a solid couple years how I avoided forcibly receiving Windows updates.
I've just kind of embraced the culture, I
think
guess.
It stopped working after a while, and then I started more forcibly trying to just kill the server. And succeeded for a while until I installed 10 Pro and just like did what a sane person would do. And
yeah, when the system, for me, I guess when the system wants to update, I just let it update. Like,
no,
okay.
I don't, like, I will do them occasionally, but I do not want to do, I want to choose when I'm going to do them. I'm not going to have Microsoft telling me when I'm doing them.
I've never actually had Windows, at least to my knowledge, automatically install. Maybe it does it in the background.
Happens at work all the time. I can't stand
So, okay, here's the thing. I don't think I've ever ran into a scenario where my computer's ever randomly just restarted on me. I've never had that. I don't know if I've ever gotten the banner either that says, hey, we've got updates for you. Like, you need to restart your computer right now. I don't think I've ever gotten that banner either before. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure. There are some tricks that you can use, like saying that you're on a metered connection and things like that are supposed to, like, reduce some stuff, I think, or other things like that. So, I don't know. Anyway. I don't know. Like I said, I guess I've just kind of embraced the culture of it.
No, I don't. I will never subscribe to that.
So, don't get me wrong. I don't love it.
Like, I feel like I'm just some kind of, like, boomer now, you know? Like, back in my day!
You know what?
We got updates when we wanted them!
Actually, you know what? So, actually, I think I embrace that culture a lot more, just because even my Linux systems that I've got, the majority of them, one of the things I've configured is automatic updates on them. Obviously from stable repositories, but part of the reason is because of some of the stuff that they're running. One's a web server, one is running a VPN server. So just in terms of not having to think about it, because for the most part, those systems are just there, sitting in the background. I don't really touch them all that much. So I have configured those to automatically update, because that's
updating those doesn't affect service.
Well, and here's the thing. So the updates are coming from a
and as long as the distributors of those updates don't have a habit of putting in quote unquote features that no one asked for and no one likes.
That's true. Okay, yeah, so Linux is a little bit different in that way.
Microsoft absolutely loves adding new features that are horrible and no one asked for.
Yeah,
And
like the
are
weather
annoying.
thing? The weather thing that just
That,
randomly
yes.
popped up?
Another thing to right click and turn off because it's ugly and just no, okay? And honestly, I'm terrified of Windows 11 because I don't know what they're going to do.
So,
What kind of horrible things are they going to do?
that is true.
The TPM thing already scares the crap out of me.
Oh,
because
yeah.
of its implications for DRM.
Okay.
It's going to be so bad. I just... I really hope there are workarounds created or that they backtrack on some of that stuff.
You know what
because
you
it's
should
just
do, Zach?
Terrible.
You know what you should do? Actually,
What?
ooh, I don't know if...
Switch to Linux, blah, blah, blah.
No. I wasn't gonna say that. I don't know if your server will. I don't know if it'll run on your server though. It might. I was gonna
What?
say, load
Windows
a
11?
load the insider build in a VM and see what you think.
I wonder if it would run on a VM. I don't know.
I think it'll
I
run
mean-
in a VM, but remember the hardware stuff.
Doesn't it require a TPM module?
Maybe not in the beta state. I think there's some ways around it. I'll have to look into
I'm
that.
sure that I think they could go back on that. The thing is, though, well, I think, and I've seen some great cases made for it, that the TPM thing is for DRM. It's not for your security. It is for DRM. So they and other stupid companies with stupid DRM can control what you can and can't do on your computer.
Oh my gosh,
What
it's
you can
great that
run,
you're.
what you can watch, what you can listen to. No. No.
It's great that
No.
you're having a rant about this because, hang on, okay, this is. So you've heard of Peloton before, right?
Yeah, some like workout machine
Yeah.
company.
So it's basically a treadmill, right? So Peloton's mandatory
Isn't it
treadmill
kind of
member.
overpriced?
Yes, Peloton. Get this. Peloton's mandatory treadmill membership shows how you never fully own your connected devices.
How do they mandate that you have a membership? Like, what are they going to do? Come and repossess it? if
No,
you don't have a
no.
membership?
Peloton has come up with an interesting solution to its treadmill safety issue, which have been connected to a
Safety
child's.
issue.
To what?
Safety issue.
Yeah, which have been connected to a child's death.
What?
I have questions. Hang on.
What?
I have
Look, a lot of things can kill you if you're completely negligent.
I know. I have
That
questions.
doesn't mean we have to do things like this.
Yeah,
Whatever this is. Go on.
I have questions. Hang on. I will come back to that thought in a second, right? So, here's their solution. Force owners of its 4,295 Tread Plus to either return the machine for a refund or have the privilege, Zach, of paying $39 a month to use it at
What?
all.
And how does that improve safety? Exactly.
You know, I don't quite know.
And what happens if you don't pay?
You don't get to use your
Does it
device.
just brick itself?
Yeah, it's a brick, apparently.
What? It's terrible.
Users are outraged. I would be. And
Yeah. Well, look. Okay, you got to be a special kind of person to spend $4,000 on a treadmill. Okay, but if I did, and the company bricked it, remotely bricked it, I don't know what I'd be doing
So
because
here's the thing.
Just no.
Some have even
No.
compared Peloton's demand to ransomware, Zach.
It pretty much is. They're like, well, you better pay up or nothing.
You know,
don't
okay.
get-
This is a good reminder, though, that when you buy or use a product that's basically
updates from the internet.
that's controlled by somebody else, that access can be taken away from you, which is why I don't love subscription model software like Adobe.
Yes.
So
Yes. That is why just a hard copy of something is useful. It's valuable
Oh,
because But like, let's say you, I don't know, what, can you buy a movie on Amazon Prime? You can do that, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So you buy a movie on Amazon Prime.
Well, you buy the rights to.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah,
That's exactly
you
the
buy
thing.
the right to
You
use to
bought
view
a
it.
movie,
But if
quote, unquote,
Amazon, look,
but, like,
Amazon's not
back
going
in-
anywhere.
Back in ye old days, in the Stone Age, when you bought a movie, you bought a disc or a tape, and that was yours. They couldn't come to your house and take it. It was yours, and you could play it whenever you felt like it, as long as you felt like it, and on whatever device you felt like playing it on. And they couldn't do a darn thing. But
You mean like this,
when you
Zach?
when you buy a movie on Amazon Prime, they can control what you can play it on, when you play it, how much you play it.
Look, you're right.
And
I know that
They can
these.
just decide one day, and I'm sure it's baked into the terms of service, that actually we're just going to take it from you and you can't have
Yeah.
it anymore and you
So,
can't have your
look,
money either.
I know that
And
these.
that's just it. You can't do anything.
I
The
know
most
that these
thing you
things.
can do is go off to Pirate Bay and download an illegal copy to make yourself feel better.
So look,
But,
I know that
yeah.
these things right here,
Terrible.
these discs. Yeah, I know. What's a disc, right? I know
What
that
is
these
that?
are right.
Ancient technology.
Look, here's the thing, okay? Look, yes, I have a physical disc, right?
Well, Jeff Bezos can't take that from you.
Look, I have a physical disc, right? For Doctor Who. This is the first what is this? This is there's 12 discs in here. And I forget I think this is like the first 2 seasons or something like that. Actually, it's probably more than that. Let's see. Season 4. This goes all the way through season 4. The new seasons, I should say, right? I don't know how much you know about Doctor Who, but anyway.
0.
So yeah. Same thing here. The entire Friends collection, right? That 70s show is sitting somewhere around here. Oh, it's on my back shelf, right? So, look, here's the thing. I have no intention of actually really using the discs in here.
You just ripped it.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is perfectly legal, right? Because you are allowed to make backup copies of
And they don't want it to be either.
of material that you own. But yeah, so anyway, but here's the thing, I own physical copies of this stuff.
The corporate dream would be for Microsoft, say, to just update Windows, and then all the rights holders to all those things could just say, actually, you can't play that on your computer because you only own the rights to the disk, not the file or whatnot, or blah, blah, blah. Like,
It's
I
a
don't
good
know,
thing
we
that-
didn't approve of you ripping it or whatever.
It's a
Like,
good thing that Plex
terrible.
It's a good thing
So
that my
terrible.
Plex server runs on top of Linux, and that my Synology NAS, where all the data is actually stored,
They had
runs
their
on
way.
top of Linux too.
If they had their way, if you tried to play those files on Windows, it would just be like, nope, you can't do that. You don't have a right license for that.
But it runs inside of a web browser, so they can't really control that, I don't
If they
think.
had their way, they'd say no. I hate it.
So-
I just hate it.
Anyway, yeah.
Terrible.
So real quick, back to this. Yeah.
That's
So
the corporate dream.
so let me
That's what
remind
they
you.
want. They
Let
want
me
to control
remind you, Zach.
everything about the media that you quote unquote own and devices that you quote unquote own.
Let me remind you real quick. Yes, you're buying a treadmill
Everything
that
is going that way. Everything.
that costs you
Cars, computers,
4,000.
phones.
Yeah.
Like smart home devices. It's all becoming you don't own anything.
So yeah.
That's
So
what they want. They
so-
don't want you to own anything.
exactly. Let me
I'm wearing a huge tinfoil hat right now.
hang on. All right, let's come back to reality for a
Covering
second.
my face now. It's like one of those medieval knight helmets made of tinfoil. I'm wearing that.
All right, let's come back to reality for a second here. So yes, so $4,295 will get you a Peloton, right? And then you have to pay $39 a month to actually use
How much a year? Okay,
this
there-
device.
40 times 12. Okay, 360. Right?
You are a math whiz, Zach.
Well, no, just 40 times 3 is 120, and then times 3 again is not 360, right? So
Do you get that reference? You
No.
don't get that reference. Remember, we did a show. This
no,
was
I'm wrong anyway. It's 480.
Oh.
What am I thinking?
this was a
No,
couple
ignore that. Holy crap! I'm so stupid.
this was a couple
That would
years
have been
ago.
times 9.
This was a couple
What?
years ago
Oh
when
my
you
god, I'm so dumb. Oh my god, I'm so dumb.
math really
I explained myself, and then I'm like, wait a second, but 3 times 3 is 9, so I'm just wrong.
you would have me fooled. I'm not good at math, but
No, that just makes it worse, though. Now it's $480 a year instead of 360.
oh,
Even worse.
you know what? Okay, I take it back.
It would have been bad already.
I take it back. The initial claim that you made in that statement. Do you remember that show? We were talking about these robots that run around like one of the California like campuses, and I told you, I don't know, Zach, you're a math whiz, figure that out. And you're like, no, I'm not. I hate math.
I don't like math.
Do you remember that though?
No.
Oh man, you know what? Actually, I might have that. That clip.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, you know what? No, that clip is archived somewhere. I can go back and find it. Anyway.
Oh, you suck.
I was gonna say it was on the drive, so it's probably gone. Actually, no, it's not.
Oh god. Look. No, not now.
Let's see.
You do not have the rights to play this. I'm not authorizing it.
Do you own the? What is that new thing that I forget what it's called. It's like that new digital rights
Call
thing.
my lawyer.
No, do you know what I'm talking about? That new digital rights thing that what do they call those things?
What?
There's this new digital right thing that like like for like memes and like things like that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
What?
Oh, what do they call that? Oh, I can't think of it.
The only thing that comes to mind is don't they have laws in the EU about like a quote unquote right to be forgotten, where you can where you have the right to have any data of yours erased?
I don't know.
I'm gonna Google that.
Who did it?
Everything you need to know about the right to be forgotten. The right to have private information about a person be removed from internet searches and other directories under some circumstances.
Well, that's the Digital Copyrights Act. There's this, I can't think of what it's called, but there's this new thing that's going around that like gives you like it's not DMCA. I can't think of, is it DMCA?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'll think of it later. But basically, it's this new thing that like that grants you the rights basically to like things on the internet or like digital mediums and things like that. I can't think of what it is, but anyway, so yeah. Oh, okay, so back to this. So anyway, so so yeah, in this case, Peloton says that the change was made for safety reasons and that forcing customers into the membership was the only way to implement the update. Okay. Peloton recalled the Tread Plus in May following the death of a child who was pulled under a treadmill. Oh, ooh, ah.
How is paying for a subscription going to prevent that?
I don't know. Hang on. So reports of injuries to several other children, pets, and adults, and a public spat with the Consumer Product Safety Commission The company stopped selling the Tread Plus and urged Tread Plus owners to immediately stop using them and offered full refunds for devices returned before November. But
Almost
Peloton...
want to buy a subscription.
Yeah, but Peloton didn't completely discourage people from using the machine. In fact, it even offered to send movers out to owners' homes to relocate their Tread Plus units to a space that kids and pets couldn't access for free. Okay, now some Tread Plus owners will face an extra monthly charge they didn't have before. Peloton recently informed them that soon they will no longer be able to use their machines unless they also purchase an all-access membership for $39 a month. Peloton is offering 3 months of all-access free to compensate for the inconvenience. Wow, to compensate for the inconvenience.
Sorry about your kid. Here's 3 months.
Peloton told Recode the move was necessary to add a safety feature called Tread Lock to the machines. Wait, hang on. I thought the appeal was that these devices were supposed to be connected to the internet. Like, you can't just have a user, like, plug the thing in and, like, I don't know, download a firmware update? Is that not a thing?
I don't know.
It's okay. This must be the PR, mumbo jumbo here. And our ongoing work, and our ongoing work to ensure that our products are even safer, and as part of our voluntary recall in collaboration with CPSG, we released TreadLock, a 4-digital passcode to secure Tread Plus against unauthorized access, Peloton told Recode. Unfortunately, due to current technical limitations, TreadLock is not yet available without a Peloton membership. I wonder though, do you take the three months and then download the update and cancel your subscription?
Wonder if you can, I wonder if anyone's hacking these things. I'm sure someone's doing it.
You're gonna
don't worry about
you're
it.
gonna hack a treadmill.
Just hacking my treadmill so it doesn't get bricked by the company. The company's coming for my treadmill. I gotta hack it.
I think at this point, if I've spent
you
that
can
much,
disconnect it from the internet.
I was gonna say, I think at this point, if I have spent that much money on a treadmill and they're gonna pull this stuff, I would just be like, you can have your device back. I don't want it anymore.
Just give me my money back, thanks. Yeah, I would agree. Just no. I'll just spend the money on something
So
else.
Peloton did tell Recode that it's working to make TreadLock available for free, but wouldn't say how long it would be or how long it would take to implement the change.
How does it take longer? I don't get it.
Again, I think what you do is
feature exists. It's been developed.
I think the problem is if you have a subscription, I think the theory is that your device is connected to the internet, then they can push the update down, right?
Yeah, but what if it's connected to the internet and it doesn't have a subscription? They could still push the update, right?
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I think you would have to encourage your users who don't have
issue instructions. Hey, here's how you get connected to the internet, so you can get this update that's super safe. And
right, yeah, exactly.
Make sure you don't die. Something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I think there's other issues here. That is recalled the Tread Plus following the death of a child who was pulled under a treadmill. I think you've got other issues. Okay, so I don't want to be insensitive here because that is a traumatic event for that family. So I don't want to be insensitive. However, and I guess the more I think about this, so is some of the blame on the parents at that point too, though? And again, I don't want to be insensitive. Look, kids are going to be kids and they're going to do things, but I think treadmills just in general are probably they can be a dangerous thing. So
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like there are a lot of things that people have in their homes that can be dangerous if applied the right way.
a pool can be
Or
dangerous.
wrong way, maybe. I mean, I'm sure your kitchen is full of knives. Like, what? Do we need firmware updates for those to make sure kids don't stab themselves with them?
Can you imagine
Really?
the blade just disappears on your knife because you didn't pay a subscription fee?
You didn't pay the monthly knife bill. Oh my god.
What? Oh my gosh! What?
No, I think
what
that's
even
dumb.
would
Like,
be what
unless
even
there-
would be like a Bluetooth connected like knife?
Unless this device was like really badly designed and actually kind of is pretty unsafe, then I don't see the point. This just seems dumb. Like, you just need to be a little smarter with a device that
Well,
probably
you know,
could be dangerous, and if you
it's the
did the wrong
and again,
thing.
like I said, I don't want to be
I
insensitive.
don't know.
I do not want to be insensitive at all. That's not where I'm coming from with this. But part of your job as a parent is to ensure that your children are safe. And again, yes, children are going to get hurt. It's just inevitable. That's a part of life. But you wouldn't treat a pool that way, would you? If you have a pool, you're not gonna treat it in a way where, they tell you the smart thing to do is have your pool, have a fence around your pool, so that young kids and animals and things like that don't end up in the pool by accident, in a situation that could end poorly, shall we say. So I don't know. So I guess there's other questions in terms of, if Peloton is releasing this, then yes, I can see that in them wanting to do something. But why? I don't know. I don't know if this is just unique to the Peloton or if it's an issue with treadmills just in general, due to the nature of how they're built.
I've heard that you could probably make a case that most treadmills could be dangerous if you are doing something particularly silly with them.
I guess some of the
That's just-
questions
I
become
don't
though.
know. Like we all drive cars, right?
Okay, so I guess part of the, let's see
We all
here.
drive cars. We all have knives in our kitchen. We all, I don't know, maybe some of us have a deck. I mean, like, oh, you could fall off the deck. Oh no, you can't have that anymore. That's not safe. You can't drive a car anymore. You could die doing that. You can't have a knife anymore in your kitchen. Those are dangerous. And like, do you have a lawnmower? Holy crap, that's dangerous. It has a giant spinning blade underneath it. Think of what you could do with that.
So sorry, I'm just reading this article real quick here. So, it's not clear how old that child was. That
It was a very young child.
was killed by that incident. But there was another incident where a 3-year-old suffered a head injury after getting trapped under a Peloton treadmill.
No.
Yeah, so like I said, again, I don't want to be insensitive. It opens some of the questions as to when you probably shouldn't be letting your kids play with these devices. But I guess the other thing is, okay, so if you've got a 3-year-old kid, one of the questions to me becomes, however, though, is how are these devices even engaging? Because a 3-year-old is not that tall. Now, I don't know about you, but
I don't know.
on the
I don't
treadmills that I've
even-
used,
Whatever. It's just
on the treadmills that I've used, the buttons are decently, they're
pretty hard to reach. I will
yeah,
say
they're
that.
they're
You're not
positioned
wrong.
for
Pretty hard to reach if you're a 3-year-old.
yeah, they're positioned for an adult, or somebody that's taller than a 3-year-old. So I do have some questions there as well. So anyway, yeah. So I don't know. That seems like a backward solution to fixing that problem, basically. Especially when there's
motivated by money.
yeah, but especially when they're saying, "Oh, we have a way of doing it for free. We just can't implement it yet." Like, you can't, or you don't want to.
They can. I guarantee you they can. If they really cared, they'd just put in a little more effort and do it.
So, look, sad story all around.
Or maybe not much more effort at all.
I feel for the families that have been affected by that, but
A lot of questions.
yeah, I think that there are some pieces of information missing. So anyway, security researchers have found 4 major security vulnerabilities in the BIOS Connect feature of Dell Support Assistant, allowing attackers to remotely exploit code within the BIOS of impacted devices. Zach.
Ouch.
Yeah, according to Dell's website, the Support Assistant software is pre-installed on most Dell devices running Windows operating
terrible,
systems.
By the way, it's really horrible.
While BIOS Connect providers remote firmware update and OS recovery features.
Just like pretty much all the manufacturer utilities on like any pre-built or any pre-built computer ever, they're basically malware.
So I gotta ask a question real quick. So your server has what is that special network port on it?
Special network port?
That allows you to
management port?
Yeah, that allows you to remotely manage that system.
All servers, it's called iDRAC.
So that's a feature of the motherboard though? That's not software built in?
I actually don't know. I think that it's an add-on. Because there are different types of it. Like there's an enterprise and a something else, I forget.
Okay. I was just curious. I was looking at this
and I don't know if it's built into the motherboard or if it's an add-in card of some description.
But it's not running. It's not running in software like on the hard or on the OS though. It's it couldn't be. It's more like, bare level than that.
The thing could be powered off, and this piece of software will be running. I mean, it's more like just a small piece of software that's running, and then
it's got to send something like a magic cookie, but it's more than a magic cookie, basically.
No, it's not like Wake on LAN. Well, no, I guess it could be like Wake on LAN. I don't know.
Like Start on LAN.
No, but it's on all the time. Like the thing could be off, and I could just
right. Yeah, I know. I would imagine the protocol works similar to
from sensors on it, like.
Right.
What's the CPU temperature right now, even though it's off? Oh, well, here, I'll tell you.
That's what I'm saying. Like at least the being able to power it on sounds similar to like a magic cookie, but obviously it's not a magic cookie that's doing that. But
I wouldn't be surprised if there were some exploits in it.
The chain of flaws discovered by a researcher comes with a CVSS base score of 8.3 out of 10 and enables privileged remote attacks to impersonate Dell.com and take control of the target's device, boot process, or break OS level security controls.
Yeah, if you can.
Yikes!
You can do things at that low level.
Yeah, so such an attack would enable adversaries to control the device's boot process and subvert the operating system and higher layer security controls. The researchers explained in a report shared in advance with Bleeping Computer. That's not good.
No.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want to turn your computer on, from across the room, and it's completely off, like it might be kind of cool, but anybody else can also exploit that as well. So the issue affects 129 Dell models of consumer and business laptops, desktops, and tablets, including devices protected by Secure Boot and Dell Secured Core PCs, with roughly 30 million individual devices exposed to attacks.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of my employer's devices, actually a lot of them, probably several hundred, could be affected.
How much of your
I do a lot of Dell devices now.
Okay. How much of your work base what is your core that's probably a mixture, or maybe not. what would you say is more prevalent? Desktops or mobile systems in your
Probably
environment?
mostly laptops, but we still do a fair number of, well, laptops and docking stations.
I was gonna
Like
say,
that
do you,
type of
yeah,
place.
are they
I
using
actually
docking
just
stations?
switched over to one. I mean, it's fine. I don't know. But we do a lot of little micro towers as well. Those ones that mount to the back of the monitor.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But they're all Dell. Like all the new equipment that we do is Dell. Only Dell.
Even your servers.
That I don't know about.
Okay.
I'm just a peasant. I don't know about that.
You're just a peasant. You don't know about that.
I'm just a dirty, filthy peasant without access
We
to anything.
my particular entity, at least in our particular location.
I actually have seen a bunch of Dell servers sitting around, so I'm sure they're mostly Dell. But actually, I've seen some Dell and HP servers.
So our particular entity, like I said, at least in our particular location, is utilizing. We have some older Lenovo systems that are like microcomputers. They're not attached to the back of the monitor, but they're rather small form factor. And then we've got one about that same size too, in an HP. So that's our newest system that we got. So they all have solid state drives in them though, except for our front register computer is extremely slow. When I try to scroll up and down in like Internet Explorer for some reason, it like freaks out on me. So I don't know if that's a problem with Internet Explorer itself or if that's the computer itself. So I don't know, or a combination of both. So because we utilize Chrome on like all the other systems, but for some reason our proprietary like point of sale system like on the front register has to run in Internet Explorer. So but anyway, so yeah, I think that's kind of it for the show this week. Anyway, covered the big topics. So remember, Zach, 1 is none, 2 is 1 when it comes to data. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But it makes sense.
Yeah, 1 is none, 2 is 1. So anyway, so yeah, with that being said, if you haven't already, go implement a good backup solution for your critical data. And yeah, with that, thanks for watching. I will keep you updated on the status of what happens with Western Digital and my data. So yeah, anyway, don't be like me. So but yes, thanks for watching. If you liked it, thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do, thumbs down. Get subscribed to our channel if you haven't done that already, and we will see you